All right, welcome to the channel. If it wasn't for live technical difficulties, it wouldn't be a fun live show. So, don't know what in the world happened, but I tried to go live and it totally froze and wouldn't connect, and it was just an absolute mess. So, I had to reset the stream up. Took me evidently 7 minutes to do that. And so here we are, because the other one is not. This one is. So hopefully you guys made it over. So nothing real exciting today really to unbox as far as the 1/6 scale community goes. I got this in the mail yesterday. My Spider-Man Far From Home movie promo edition. And of course, post office decided to customize my box for me. So I got two of them. I really wanted like one for each of the movies. But there's a huge hole right there. I mean, that's in there deep. It's a good 1.5 to 2 inches into the box. So nice little custom job right there for my figure. And of course, you know, you can't return a figure because of a damaged box. What can I say? I'll be opening up these later. Not today. I also have received my this one, which I think is the Spider-Punk MVSM BGM 34. I think this is a Spider-Punk. Right, the Spider-Punk and the movie promo Spider-Man. Man, what a time to be collecting Spider-Man. Like I've told you guys before, he's always been my main guy. Spider-Man has. That's been the guy. There was never anybody that got me interested in the comics. It was Spider-Man for fact. That's my guy. I showed you last week I got a new pair of pants for Crossbones. I put those on, and they look great in regards to being a perfect match. My OCD kicked in, and I'm looking at these boots here, and I'm like, gosh, they didn't lace the boots right. So I decided I was going to relace the boots, and that has become a bigger task than I had originally anticipated. So for whatever reason, I think because of ease, you'll notice here, they actually laced the boots like inside out. So they went from the out of the boot in and laced it that way. And I'm like, that was just absolutely driving me crazy. So I've been relacing the boot to be laced how I consider a boot to be properly laced. And boy, it's been a task. The other complaint I have on this is the waist is much skinnier on the pants than the waist of the figure. It doesn't really close all that well there. Probably gonna, well, not probably, I'm definitely gonna take this snap off right here and then see if I can't get some Velcro or something to seal that up there. I believe there's enough material for that. But these are the pants he had in the movie, not the ones that came with the figure. They weren't black pants. They were definitely a dark camouflaged pattern as such. I don't know if I'm going to carry the belt over. I might just leave the belt on these that they supplied with these pants. I'm not real certain yet. This butt on this figure is just freaking huge, and it was really difficult to get past that. I've not seen this figure before. It's very sculpted. It's very chiseled. This plastic body is underneath here. I don't know what it is. And that butt is just insane. So it was really difficult to get past that butt on there. Buns of steel is what I would say those are. But then I'm also going to have to figure out how to fabricate some sort of chest piece on here. From the same person I bought these pants from off eBay, also bought these little shin guards here. I was hoping that they would have straps to put them on. They're not exact replicas of the shin guards that he had in the movie, but they're close enough. He wasn't selling this as a Crossbones piece. He was just selling these, and he was selling this. And I was like, hell, those are like practically perfect. So these pants have these straps on them. He didn't have any straps on his pants in the movie. So I'm probably going to take these straps and use them to attach this. So where this will go, right here to the top of his boot, is pretty close to where it should be from the movie. It'll work. I believe it'll work. It'll really bring him more to life, which was my total intent here. So after it's said and done, it'll be something to that effect right there. So that's how we were coming with my crossbones. It was a AI doll or something. AI ball. I think it was AIBOLM is what he was actually called. I don't remember who it was made him. Here's his little foot from inside the boot. So very articulated toe there goes inside this boot to attach to crossbones. So that's crossbones there. Noble, how you doing, man? Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So that's that. I was going to put my poison on a stand. Then I decided to go ahead and run her belt through the pants. So I disassembled one of the links, just spread it open, and then threaded this through all the loops there to get it where it is, because it just wasn't sitting right. It was just all drooping and everything else. So I've threaded it through and then pinched the link back together. And the way I did that was just some pliers, or excuse me, tweezers. I took the tweezers, spread it open, and then used the fatter pair of tweezers that I have and pinched it tight and sealed it back up. So now it's through her belt loops, and it'll be just fine. And I'm going to put her in a stand. I decided to keep her arms straight so that we don't end up with a bending instead of across her stomach, which is how she was originally. So that's poison, where we are on that. And so I got this because in Deadpool Core, thank you, Noble. I agree, it does look better. In Deadpool Core, it was called, essentially he was like traveling through all the different multiverses and fighting himself. And so we see Deadpool in every single incarnation of every Marvel Earth, every Marvel Universe Earth that there is. And there was a Chibipool Deadpool, and so a big, huge head and little bitty body. He's looked more like a plush than this, but this is totally a Chibipool Deadpool, so I had to have him. I mean, I'm literally thinking I am going to just go stupid crazy and just collect every single Deadpool that I could possibly find, any incarnation of any type of an Earth representation Deadpool that they have or had, and just be stupid with all this. So it's kind of where I am on that. So here's the box, by the way. And I don't remember what this was. 40, 50, 60 bucks, something to that effect. And he would still be, in my opinion, still be 1/6 scale to our Deadpools that we have, because we see him in the comics, this little guy, in a few scenes that he's in, or panels. He's not a big, tall character. He's chibi, short, small. I'm saying chibi is Japanese for like a small person, and I think it's slang. I don't think it's like proper Japanese. I think it's slang. So here's what you get when you open the box here. And I got this from Big Bad Toy Store. Paid for it with the Big Bad Toy Store. His interchangeable eyes and interchangeable legs, and he comes with the swords. So when I seen this, I was like, this is so. Not only is it perfect for my collection because he's still 1/6 scale, but he's also cute, and that's where we are in that regards. So let's get him out of the box here, bring him to life. Because, of course, you know, the question is, what are you going to do now that Iron Man is out of the picture? Because he really kind of is. You know? How are us who are obsessed with this going to possibly make it without our Iron Man? What's inside the box, by the way? So I've got Spider-Man, obviously, to collect. And like a Deadpool. I don't know if you can see that or not. Deadpools. So the goal or the plan or the obsession will be every incarnation of Deadpool that matches to some degree 1/6 scale and the comics. What is it called? It's Deadpool Core or something like that. I don't remember what the series of comics were that where he did this, where he traveled, where he met Lady Deadpool and Dogpool and Headpool and Kidpool and the Deadpool Kid and I mean all of them. There was Captain. It wasn't Captain Deadpool. It was like Major Deadpool or something like that. Essentially, there was a Wolverine Deadpool and a Spider-Man Deadpool, and every Marvel character that there was a Deadpool version of them, and even Marvel, and even characters that weren't a Marvel character at all. Like there was a dinosaur Deadpool and a panda Deadpool, and you name it. Galacticus was there, and the Watchers were every single character in the Marvel universe was made into a Deadpool, and here we are. I like that this is following the um, what's the word I'm looking for? The uniform design from the movies, the Deadpool movies. It works even more so with the 1/6 scale, keeping to it, if you know what I'm saying. So here's a little chibi Deadpool. Chibipool. His little baby legs. Now, I guess the thing would be to figure out how to put that there, right? Cut him in half. Have little baby Deadpool legs. Right? Isn't that what happened? He had to grow his like legs back. So this just pulls apart right there. If you want to put him in his little boxer shorts. He's articulated. These got a bicep pivot and an elbow joint. And a wrist joint. So wrist joint, elbow joint, bicep pivot, shoulder rotation. So 4 articulations in each arm. Waist articulation. Or actually, I suppose that would be more of his chest or his tummy. Head articulation. Now, these legs are not articulated, but these are. So you have hip and knee and ankle. So you can really pose them up. And yeah, I'm going to call him 1/6 scale as a Chibipool. Really am. I have no problem with that. He will fit perfectly well in my Deadpool 1/6 scale shelf. The Deadpool shelf. Interesting display stand. Not exactly sure how it works. Suppose I'll have to read the instruction manual, right? Comes with all these pieces. The display stand does. There is some instructions that came with this that I put back in the box. Because why would you want to read the instructions, right? I always recommend reading the instructions. Now, whether you follow them or not, at least you've read them. Jeez. Good Smile Company makes this, by the way. Interesting. It shows a you know what they are showing you what to do is they're suggesting to cut out these quotes and to use this to make little quote bubbles with. Isn't that interesting? I was wondering, you know, where the sheet is that had all these. So the only thing I can assume is that they literally expect you to cut them off of this because this is part of the box. So you would cut these out, I suppose, and then use them as little quotes. You know, because in the video games, he talks to himself and with little quote bubbles and stuff like that. And I suppose, you know, you would say in the comics as well, because that's how we see him, is with his quote bubbles and whatnot. So that is what this is for, evidently. Although I don't see how to attach the boxes to that. UVW and X. Doesn't say. I certainly don't see anything here that looks like a quote bubble holder other than this piece that they show. What am I not understanding? It's right on the end of this. There's a groove. Real fine, small little groove right there. Or a slot. Okay, I'm going to slide that piece of paper into that slot. So that is how it's going to fit, just like that. So should you decide to cut out the little thought bubbles or speaking bubbles, thought bubbles would have little circles showing thoughts, but the pointed, it's a speak bubble. You would cut these out and then slide them onto this little piece here to use them to be able to position them as speech bubbles. Then you would put this other little piece into the smaller holes. There's four big holes and 9 smaller holes. So you would just pop one into one of those to have a little speech bubble. It's clever. Now, we also had speech bubbles that came with the Sideshow Deadpool, which is kind of a representation of Deadpool from all universes to some degree. The most famous versions of Deadpool, there's not one specific Earth Deadpool. The Sideshow one isn't. And I think you can still buy him. Sideshow Collectibles Deadpool. So Deadpool has a little hole in his back for this stand. And we can position this however we wish, and then it goes into the 4 larger holes. So these 4 kind of in the center are the larger holes, and then there's 3 rows of the smaller holes. No, he goes in the smaller holes. So what in the hell are the larger holes for then? So he also goes in the smaller holes. Why is it showing the larger holes? It don't show nothing going in the larger holes. So it's any of the 9 smaller holes. Now obviously you can see he holds up quite well into a position over the stand. He's not touching the stand. But keep in mind, these through weight and time and whatever else, they could get loose, but it looks like you could just tighten this down with a Phillips head screwdriver if you need to make this stand stronger. And you can get them up there pretty high. Pretty clever little stand here. This is definitely a little Chibipool. I could definitely see Deadpool getting a kick out of this guy. If I remember correctly, he was one of the bad guys. I don't remember who all was on his team and who wasn't on his team. I think he was on his team, but he died quickly. I think that was the case. The little Chibipool did. Now you can also use this same stand with his katana sheaths on the back by using this little adapter. Appear to be the same size on both sides. So it says to slide this on there, and then slide this off, and then put this on. There we go. So we take off that little piece from it. And then we can use Deadpool's katana sheaths and pose him on here. So that sticks out a bit. The pole's a lot longer than the hole in his back. So it goes all the way down against him. And even looking at the instructions, it definitely appears to have a space there where it's not all the way down. And here's his little Deadpool swords, katanas. Little plastic guys. identical. Hello. I would call this Deadpool 1 or 2. It, it, Probably more so 1 because 2 he was more metallic, and so he's not metallic. But in all actuality, it's not an exact copy from either, but a close rendition of how his suit is. So it's not like necessarily specifically 1 or 2, but it's like close enough. It's his suit, but it's not his suit. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about the Deadpool universe. Says when in Deadpool Core, God, I think it was Deadpool Core, the we see all these other little Deadpools. They're the same, but not the same. It's Deadpool, but it's not Deadpool. Sometimes it really is Deadpool, and sometimes it's not Deadpool. Sometimes it's kind of Gwen Stacy in Gwenpool, or I mean Spider Gwen. She's Spider Man, but she's not because in her universe Peter Parker's dead, and she was the one that became Spider Man by becoming Spider Gwen. So they are Deadpool, they're not Deadpool. So it is Deadpool. Sometimes there's like even the name is the same. Sometimes it's not like Wanda Wilson. Lady Deadpool is Wanda Wilson. The Jazz Ink Vulture, I think that would be a good thing. I am definitely going to jump on board on that. It's going to be a while for it is actually released. But yeah, I'm for fact going to hop on that Jazz Vulture. I've seen pictures of the Millennium Falcon seating area. I'm not sure what you call it there where the chess set is. And it looks amazing. I've paid for my land speeder, just waiting for those to ship, but I think he said are coming next month. So it could be just a few weeks, and I'll definitely unveil that, open it up here when it comes in. And I'm all for getting the Vulture. I think he's doing a Batmobile, and I think he's doing a cockpit for the Millennium Falcon. So, yeah, I'm all for it. I think that's a great idea. I don't remember how much the Vulture's selling for. You know how much the Vulture will be selling for? It looks, preliminarily, the preliminary pictures or photos look great. So I'll slide in there quite nicely. Let's take this out. It seems to be just a little bit. $550. But it's going to be big. I'm assuming the wingspan, because for instance, Falcon over here. Falcon's probably the closest thing that we have in comparison to how Vulture will be. Let's get my Falcon down here. This is the second Falcon. I didn't get the first one, which was gray. I got the second one with the red, I think from Winter Soldier or Civil War, right? I think it's from Civil War. I didn't get the Winter Soldier one, I think was what the deal was. So this will give you an idea of the wingspan that I expect the Vulture to be, or even larger. Just to give you an idea, so you know what we're dealing with here on why he's going to be $550. By the way, I took a see what I did here. This I think was, I don't remember, just regular old stand, and I've set it up with the articulated pole to be able to hold him. And I drilled a hole in it as well for, this guy's name is Redwing, right? His little bird. And so I can sit in here. I don't remember why I don't have it in it right now. I have it on this little stand. This came with my Nier Automata figure for her little robot that travels with her. So he sits up here. So the way I have him posed is I have this that with this through here. Like such. And then up here is where Red Wing goes. Was there no Red Wing? What do you tell Black Widow to thank it? Thank him? She's not. What'd she say? Not going to thank it or something. I forget how it was that she said that. Dusty Figures. So I even have his arms or his wings folded up to make him smaller. But if he were to be straight out, which I imagine the Vulture would be, we're looking at that distance right there. This is what we got there. 25 inches. That's 25 inches right there. So that's how big I expect the Vulture to be, or more. 2 feet. 66 centimeters, right? And so to make them smaller, I curve these up as such so that he's not totally huge. I love this guy. He's great. The little goggles can be put over his eyes, have him up on his forehead. This is how big I expect the Vulture to come out to be. But I don't think the Vulture will go up in that manner. So yeah, I'm full on. I will be definitely getting the Vulture. No doubt about that. Michael Keaton on top of that? Come on. He's my Batman. 1989 Batman, right? Yeah, I love that Winter Falcon. I'm pretty sure it's Captain America Civil War. The Winter Soldier one I think is gray, and I was going to pull the trigger on the Winter Soldier one, the original one, and I was like, I don't know, the red one just looks so much better. So I got the second one, and it's one of those things where it's like, God, I wish I'd gotten the first one and the second one, but I'm cool with just the one. What's up, regular size man? I like that how he says that in game where Ant-Man's sitting there trying to enjoy his little meal and what was the name of the ship that the Guardians of the Galaxy were flying around in? When it lands, and this is the first time he'd even seen them, he didn't know who they were, and he's just kind of like gobsmacked when Nebula walks by and she's like, "Where's?" She asked, I don't remember who it was she asked for, where he was. And he's like, he's in the kitchen, and then she says in her communication device something to the effect of, "Be careful of the landing zone. There's an idiot in the LZ," or something like that to Rhodes. As Rhodes lands, and then Winter Soldier comes through, and he's like, "What's up, regular sized man?" It was just a clever, that whole little thing there with Paul Rudd was just, I really enjoyed that little interaction. I thought that was just clever. I can't remember it specifically, all it was said, but you get the gist of it. Rambling here. And then to sum it all up, we see the Hulk come through looking like a total hippie, handing him his little tacos because his tacos got destroyed. And Paul Rudd is just literally, in a daze, just totally shocked by what he'd just seen. He couldn't process it all. What's up, regular size man? We got little eyeballs here. So of course, the regular, just like Deadpool eyes. And then we have these neat little heart-throbbing eyes. Right there. squinting eyes, or I'm not sure what you would call these. Definitely in the comics or whatnot of this particular nature, you'll see these types of expressions in the character's eyes. So whatever that's to interpret to be, there it is. And we have one of these. Wide eye, only one. And then the other one eye is a very narrow slit eye. And then we have two of these, kind of like a smiling eye. Let's see if it says specifically how this comes out. It appears that it shows the head coming apart. As such, just pull the head right off. And then the eyes are just kind of resting in the face mask because they're actually attached to the holes there inside of that. So instead of trying to pull the eyes, you just pull the face mask off. Then, I would imagine, it would be easiest to put the face mask back on and then place the eyes in. I don't see an L and R on here, but I have a feeling they're only really going to go on one way. So I suppose I would call this love-struck Deadpool, right? So in the comics you see them do that. That's the love-struck Deadpool. And these came out. Simple enough. I suppose if you wanted to put something else in there, this would be the one that you could do that with. Or if you wanted these even to rotate for whatever reason, you didn't like them straight on, you wanted them to be a little cocked as such, you could do that. However you desire to pose that. That's neat. Hulk's cardigan sweater. Yeah, we got to have Hulk in regular size guy. We also have to have Hulk in the what they call the team suit. I call it the Quantum Realm suit. I mean, I don't think. I have a feeling this is probably going to be our only Hulk that we're going to get. In that regard, I don't believe we're going to get a bunch of Hulks specifically from Hot Toys, but I've been wrong before. But I have a feeling this may be our only Hulk. But what I like is, if you really wanted to, you could use the Avengers Hulk, which, man, I wish I had, and put Professor Hulk's head sculpt on it, and there you go. There's another Hulk. Man, I hate to say they should re-release a figure. I really don't like saying that. I hate saying that. But if they were to re-release the Avengers Hulk, that'd be great. Because he is in Endgame in the Battle for New York. So, I mean, on a positive note, Sideshow released a video showing off the Mark 7 diecast. That means it's coming soon. This is the end of October, 1st November. I doubt we'll get it here in the United States by Christmas. It's possible. But I have a feeling it's going to be coming real soon. And I ordered 2 of those because when I looked at it originally, I said to myself, I'm going to need 2 because it appears to be able to make the pod. You need the die-cast figure. And sure enough, from the video, there's no question about it. The figure itself is what turns into pod. You remove the bottom lower legs, you flip this and flip that, and put this and put that, and then you have the pod from a die-cast figure. So I bought one to be the figure and one to be the pod. Looking at this, you really need, you really need a clean Mark 7. You need the missiles Mark 7. You need the pod Mark 7. You need the missiles deployed Mark 7, or ready to be deployed, opened up. And you need the Mark 7 after the missiles have been deployed and the pieces have been jettisoned off of his body. It's five Mark 7s. The battle pod, a clean Mark 7, a battle damaged Mark 7 with the missiles opened, a battle damaged Mark 7 missiles ready to be, or missiles, all right. Battle pod, clean Mark 7, battle damaged Mark 7 with the missiles closed, or actually, let's just say 4. A pod, clean Mark 7, and you can put the missiles on him, closed. Then you need missiles open and ready to be deployed, and then you need missiles gone and the pieces jettisoned off of him. So you need 4 Mark 7s. $450 a pod, plus tax, plus shipping and handling, just say $500. $2,000 in Mark 7s. It's crazy. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Buzz, welcome. How you doing, man? Is it Hot Toys Deadpool? This is not. This is made by Good Smile Company, and the reason I got him is because in the Deadpool core series, he literally encountered every Deadpool in every Marvel universe. Marvel's told us many times there's the multiverse that we exist in, and Deadpool discovered all the other Deadpools. He met them all. He formed a team with Lady Deadpool, Kidpool, Dogpool, and Headpool, and they were a team, and they flew around on the ship. The name of the ship, I can't remember. It was a woman's name, I think, from the Golden Girls. I can't remember the name of the ship. Anyhow, they flew around and they were killing all the other Deadpools. It was like a giant Deadpool war. So we see every single version, and it was every single Marvel character was a Deadpool, and one of them was a Chibipool. So I call this my 1/6 scale Deadpool Chibipool. I've got Squirrel Pool, Head Pool, 2 Dog Pools, Lady Katana, Lady Deadpool. I've got the Kid Pool that I've custom kit bashed, which I'm not through with yet. Still need to do some work on. Show you that, guys. A little Kid Pool here. And I've got a Deadpool Pikachu, and we'll be doing a custom Champion Pool, who was the only one who wasn't actually a Deadpool, but he was part of Deadpool Core. So that's what we got going on with that. Did you guys check out the tutorial video on the official Hot Toys channel for Iron Man Mark 7? Yes! Can't wait to receive mine. This MMS500 is a beast. I agree. It's interesting. I thought it was funny in the video they called MMS500 D27 or 29B. And I was like looking at my paperwork and I'm like, mine doesn't say B anywhere. So I was wondering if there was a B version. And I don't know. Yeah, I want them to re-release Avengers 1 Loki because he is in game also. Yeah, that's another one that I missed out on. Way too much money. And both of those guys, Loki's selling for like $800, and I don't even know how much the Hulk is selling. The new Hulk, what is he, $400 something also? And people are shirking at that. They're like, God, that's $400. Hulk's a beast though. He's what, 16 inches tall? I mean, Hulk's the Hulk. And what can you say? Here's Deadpool next to him, so to remind you guys just how big he is. He's like almost twice the size of Deadpool. For real. So, of course he's going to cost more. I think it's interesting whenever somebody complains about the price of a figure. Either you want it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? The days of $200 Hot Toys are going away quickly. The days of $100 Hot Toys are long gone. I mean, for instance, Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 1, the Jamie Foxx character. When it was still available for sale um, through Big Bad Toy Store, after you get the rebate for purchasing it, I think he was selling for 200 bucks. It only cost you $50 to buy him. And they had him on sale for months. Nobody wanted to spend $50 on this figure. I bought it. I couldn't believe it was only $50. And people still complained, you know, oh, Hot Toys are too expensive. Well, how come they don't make this figure? How come they don't make that figure? Because you're not buying the ones that they are making. I mean, I think the Chitauri soldiers are still for sale. They had the Mark 41 was for sale forever, brand new. And then whenever a figure comes out and it's expensive or it sells out, then everyone complains, "Oh my God, scalpers are selling it for 800 bucks." Hey, sometimes they cost more, sometimes they cost less. What can I say? It's the way that it is. If you want something, you pay what someone's demanding for it, or you do without it. None of these are a necessity, right? It's not like they're taking advantage of you. It's not like they're selling you fresh fruits and vegetables at 800 bucks. It's a toy. You pay the price or you don't pay the price. We have 3 hands that come with this, in addition to the hands that are on it. Right there. Covered up with a little piece of sticky plastic here. So we have a thumbs up and then 2 sword holding hands. They're itty bitty little guys. Size it out of the hand there. And here's the thumbs up. Or thumbs down. And that is on a right hand. Thumbs up is right hand. I still wonder what kind of exclusives Hot Toys will put out next year. Oh, yeah, right? Because of their 20th anniversary. Oh, yeah. I can imagine a special Iron Man. Yeah, of course. Maybe Mark 1 diecast. Well, I guarantee you the Mark 1 diecast is coming. What I would like to see, and this is the big hope, is them to finish the line of Iron Men, all the suits. So 8 through 41 in diecast. I would imagine if they were going to make anyone next, simple enough, Mark 21 Midas. It's literally a Mark 7 only gold. Gosh, could you imagine if they made one like out of gold? For real. Think about that for a minute. It's already come in diecast. Imagine if the diecast pieces were gold or gold plated. Holy smokes. What would that cost? Jeez. What would that cost? Put one of his little katanas in his left hand. I'm digging this guy. Oh, wait a minute. What do we have here? Oh, that's his other fist. I was like, wait a minute. I don't remember this guy. See how easy I want to see how easy the hand holds the sword well. It slid right on there. Just the right amount of length or tightness that you would expect. His little shoulder pump right out. His little shoulder joint just totally popped right out. Which one goes where? I'm assuming the red post goes into the bicep because it's a swivel bicep, and that is definitely an articulated shoulder there. So I'm assuming that goes into the body. The black one does. There we go. Simple enough. There's our little Chibipool. 1/6 scale Deadpool Chibipool from the Marvel Comics Deadpool core, where we get to meet all the Deadpool. And in case you haven't seen or don't know, I will show you the others that I happen to have. I have 2 dog pools there. And it's funny, Deadpool claims that Dogpool is his favorite. He doesn't talk back. And it's also funny in the comics, when he sees Dogpool, he decides to talk to him and assumes that he's going to be able to communicate with him and they understand each other, and it doesn't happen. I hate to tell you. I have 2 head pools, which is from the zombie Marvel Universe. 2 of these. Little squirrel pool. Right there. So some of these are like non-articulated, just a statue, like these guys are. They're just statues. They're, you know, the little propeller will move, but the jaw is articulated. I've put the hand grenades in their mouths. Those are from a sideshow Deadpool. Of course, I showed you the kid pool that I have been kit bashing. Here's the Deadpool Pikachu, not from the comics, but come on. How could you not have a Deadpool Pikachu? Obviously, in the Pikachu universe, there would be a Deadpool Pikachu. Come on. Why not? Of course, I have the Dusty Deadpool, and I have the Deadpool from first movie Deadpool as well. This, of course, is the second movie Deadpool, the sideshow Deadpool. And Wanda Wilson, Lady Deadpool. So now on Lady Deadpool, she comes with her boots. She wears the boots, same boots that Deadpool wears. These are the shoes that came with the Deadpool 2 figure when we see him wearing the high heels. I was like, you know what? Let's put those on Lady Deadpool. So I did. There are times when I hate it. There are times when I like it. I go back and forth as to my feelings on that. They're not her high heels. We never seen her wearing high heels. She wears the same boots that Deadpool does. Wanda Wilson wears the same boots that Wade Wilson wears. And of course, I'll show you the other Deadpools as well. Might as well, dragging them out. Here is my movie 1 Deadpool, and for some reason I don't know how this came about, but he holds all the junk that everybody comes with. I don't know why, but he's become the holder, the possessor of junk. You know, Deadpool knows about us. He's broken the 4th wall. He knows you and I exist, and he understands. That's why he talks to us in the movies and in the comics and the games. he's aware of who he is, and he collects his merch and whatever else. So here we are. We have him holding his little unicorn that he came with. I believe it was in I think it was Deadpool 1. I got him holding the little Spider-Man plush that came with the Advanced Suit Spider-Man. I have him holding little baby Groot. I have Groot on the unicorn. I have him holding Anakin Skywalker's, I believe that is who that is, lightsaber. And I have him holding the extra necklace that takes away the X-Men powers. And I have him holding the rubber chicken that the Sideshow Deadpool came with. And any other affiliated junk that will come about, he will find out somehow, somewhere, it will end up in Deadpool's possession. This is the third-party head sculpt that I got, and it looks great. Hot Toys did not release this, and this looks perfect because we have Deadpool over here in the helmet mask. This is Deadpool without the mask, and that's why I did him in that manner. And then the other thing I'll show you on the Dusty version Deadpool, which I think was kind of like a they did it to maybe represent the X-Force comics, where he had like a black and white Deadpool. So I think I was paying homage to that. They called it the Dusty version Deadpool. It didn't sell very well. I don't know why. I think it's great. It's literally this Deadpool, only they washed it. They made him. It's like they just took black paint and just painted over it. Problem I had with it is in the movie, his belt buckle stayed shiny. The whole thing was covered in soot and ash from the fire and explosion, but his belt buckle stayed shiny. Well, when Hot Toys sold this, they washed over the belt buckle too. So the belt buckle was no longer shiny. And the difference between movie 1 and movie 2 Deadpool are the shininess on these pieces and on his belt buckle. And I think bullet holes. There's no bullet holes here, but there's bullet holes in the Deadpool 1. So I had a problem with that. So I bought a new belt buckle and put it on him. What I didn't get, though, was I bought the movie 1 belt buckle, not the movie 2 belt buckle. So it's not as shiny as the movie 2, but it's not as dusty as the Dusty Deadpool from Hot Toys came. And I would assume if he's still covered in soot, it would be cleaner than the Dusty one, but not as shiny necessarily as the movie one. And what I ended up doing with his belt buckle was I put it on my Kidpool Deadpool. So when I kit bashed this, how he came about, if you haven't seen the story of his progression, was Gentle Giant made these guys, these 3 guys right here, were made by Gentle Giant. And they also made a 1/6 scale bust of the Kidpool, which had this helmet and his arms and the belt buckle and all that and the swords. And I always wanted him to be into a figure. So I found this 7-inch Deadpool, and this in this uniform. The uniform was red, like this is red, like that is red. And I wanted it to be closer to the movies because it's like closer to that in regards to it. And the boots are red. So I painted the boots black. I washed the entire thing in black. I cut off this portion which was on his chest on the bust. I took the swords out of the hands, and these are the swords that came with the bust. They had a hard piece of sculpted, I don't know what you call this. I don't know what you would call this, this sword, this little string. And so lanyards maybe. So I put some threading in here, drilled a hole in there, put some threading in there. So these are the hands from Lady Katana. I ordered an extra set of hands from Lady Deadpool because her hands are smaller. So these are Lady Deadpool's hands. This is Deadpool's belt from Dusty Deadpool. I used this little plastic piece is from the 7-inch Deadpool that I purchased, and I glued it onto the front of the Dusty Deadpool belt. So that's Dusty Deadpool's belt now on Kidpool. And the swords are from the Gentle Giant kit. And so is the head. Now, I took the head and glued it onto a piece of plastic. And the only thing I didn't have was, the black collar that goes around his neck. So I found this. I don't even remember where I even found this piece. This is going to be perfect. I'm still having to adjust the back of the suit to get it on there better. But you're never supposed to look at the back anyhow. But this is how he's coming about. Total full-on kit bash. That's turning out quite well. And so this will be around his neck properly. And there we will have Kidpool. So there's a Kidpool, and then there's a Deadpool kid, which is like a cowboy. So that's, and I don't have a Deadpool kid yet, but that's the intent or the plan, to try to get as many Deadpools representations of all the Deadpools that there have been for a Deadpool collection. Always something to collect, right? So that's where we are. And this guy is now adding to that. And I literally would call him 1/6 scale. I have no problem saying that he's 1/6 scale. Pikachu may be a little bit larger. I don't know. How big is Pikachu? It's about the size of him. Wouldn't that be the size of Pikachu? The version I was saying, was smaller, maybe a little bit taller, but not very much. I think he's the same size as Hulk as all the other ones. Sir, did you get the Ferris Bueller? I do have the Ferris Bueller bathrobe. I bought. I think this was like a little fashion accessory, like Barbie doll. I figured this was perfect for Deadpool. A little closet to keep his stuff in. And so in here I have his Ferris Bueller's bathrobe. I have his trainee shirt, his trainee jersey. I've thought about buying more Deadpool just to be able to display him as such. And I might one day, who knows. But we have the trainee jersey. We have the Ferris Bueller bathrobe over here. We have the Hugh Jackman. So you could staple it to his face. And we have his little Francis drawings that he'd made right here. And these are Lady Deadpool's boots, as I was telling you about. She has boots that she came with. We also have his right here are the subway tokens that saved his life. Or no, I'm sorry, skee ball tokens. The one with the bullet depression in it that saved his life, and one without the bullet depression. And these are larger than they should be. They shouldn't be this big. So skee ball tokens. But what I have are quarters that came with the Centipede and Tempest 1/6 scale arcade games that I have, and these are properly 1/6 scale, or closer to 1/6 scale than the skee ball tokens are. So these are all in his little Barbie doll. Oh, and he came with 2 magnets. This is one of the magnets. I think this came with the second one. I don't remember, for taking his eyes out. Yeah, I've really come to really enjoy collecting Deadpool. I also have on the Deadpool shelf both Colossus from the Deadpool movies, not Colossus from the X-Men movies. He wasn't very Colossus-y, but Colossus from the Deadpool movies. God, I would love to get a Juggernaut. Oh my God. Hey, Jazz, if you're listening, make Juggernaut. Holy smokes. That's who we really need. We need a Juggernaut for fact. Um, so next week I have either Spider-Punk or this movie promo edition Spider-Man. I don't know which one you guys want me to unbox next week. I think I have scheduled the land speeder. It isn't coming. Not yet. It will definitely be put in there. Do you want to see Spider-Punk first, or do you want to see the movie promo Spider-Man, which is the first Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Yeah, definitely King. I've got two of them on the pre-order. I'm going to hold off on the Satori soldiers for as long as possible. They're at the bottom of the priority list of my Marvel villains collection. I have four of those. They made two versions. They made a commander and the regular one, and you could buy each of them individually, or you could buy the set of the two of them. And I think the set came with one extra weapon. I don't remember. It was the only difference. It literally was both pieces, plus I think it was one extra weapon. And I have them over here, my Jataris. You can see them over there around Thanos. Commanders and foot soldiers. They're different colored. One's kind of a bluish gray and one's kind of a tannish. Depending on which one's the commander and which one's the foot soldier. I have one of them with this helmet up, this mask off. I have one little self-detonator. Oh, by the way, this brick is from, I think, the Chitaris. I don't remember. But if you remember in Deadpool 2, he says to Cable, he says, "Can I borrow your gun or shotgun or something?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Fine, I'll use this brick." So I put that brick in his hand. This time device is actually from my Cable, which is a third-party figure, because I like it better than I did the one that came with the Hot Toys figure. My Cable, I think, was made by Toys Era. I don't remember. It has the other. I have the other Deadpool hovering with Cable here. Love this figure. I think they did a great job on it. If you're a Deadpool fan and you passed on this, I guarantee you're going to be regretting it later. There's two versions of it. One that the eye lit up on, and one that the eye did not light up on. It's neither here nor there which one you got, because truthfully, the feature of the light up eye is really poor. It's not really bright. It's really difficult to see. I tried to make it better. It ended up making it worse. But it works perfectly fine as it is. And when he's holding this rifle or whatever it is, this weapon that he made, you really couldn't see the time traveling device on it as well. So here is where the Hot Toys time traveling device is, and this is the time traveling device that he came with. So I'll see if I can get you a good look on that. See why I liked it better. So there's that. So if you happen to have the Deadpool one, you can compare that to your Deadpool, and you'll see how much. I just think this one looks much better. That one does right there. And he's holding that brick. It's not glued into his hand. He's literally just holding on to that brick. And I'm pretty sure that came with the Chitauri soldiers. I think that's where that brick is from. By the way. And I have both Colossus again. And the second one is much better than the first. But the second one was better one in the movie as well. They reworked their 3D design of him. He's a beast. I mean, look at him. There he is next to. Here he is next to Cable. You can see how big he is. He's a beast. I love him. Very little differences between the two when you just first glance at him, but he's more muscular, more defined. They changed the belt buckle. The suit's very similar, and he's properly proportioned. In the first movie, he was not properly proportioned. The graphics guys made a huge mistake in the fabrication of him because they were using actors that were on stilts to be the size of him, and then they were digitizing that on top of that, and they forgot to make his arms longer. As Leonardo da Vinci has pointed out to us, if you're normally proportioned, when you stretch your arms out from fingertip to fingertip, that is how tall you are. And when they made the Colossus in the first Deadpool movie, he stretches his arms out from fingertip to fingertip. That's not how tall he is. His arms are shorter than they should be. And I believe the first Colossus, who was called the Steel, who I think was also made by Toys R Us, I don't remember, his arms are that length. And on this one, his arms are definitely properly proportioned, no doubt about it. He looks like the movie one. The first one looks like the movie one, too. They represent what they are. They really do. And I'm glad to have them as well. So this is my Deadpool shelf. And I love my Lady Deadpool. Lady Katana was what this one was called. Lady Katana. I think if they released the whole line of Iron Man, they would be diecast. That's what I'm hoping. Because they haven't released one in a while. They're re-releasing the Mark 43, which really upset me at first. It literally has the exact same number as the original one. Now, they did re-release the Mark 42, but it was a redesigned Mark 42. So the Mark 42 came out, it was one of the first diecast figures. And the butt action was how you would position his legs. You push the little button on his butt to make his legs pop down so you could get him into, like, for instance, a superhero landing. And it was problematic. With the Mark 43, which is essentially the exact same suit as the Mark 42, only painted differently. Because the Mark 42 was the prototype, the Mark 43 was the actual go live version, if you will, from the prototype in the movies. The difference, that's why the 42 and 43 are similar. 42 is a prototype, 43 was production, if you will. Same thing with Hot Toys. When they did the 43, they fixed the butt. So they re-released the 42 with the opening of the Shanghai Disney. You got two figures if you wanted to. Actually, I think there was four figures that were released then. The Mark 43, the Mark 42, the Mark 7, the Mark 21 Chrome, which was an absolute buy. And I think they re-released the Mark 4 and the Mark 6. I know for a fact it was Mark 4. I think they re-released the Mark 6 as well. And each of those are a little different than the originals. But the Mark 42, when they re-released that, they re-released it with the Mark 43 butt. And if I'd known that at the time, I would have bought it. And I didn't. I wish I'd had. But this new Mark 43, they're re-releasing it. It has the exact same MMS number. It looks like it's just going to be a dead-on, full-on re-release of the original. And that really bothers me because, to some degree, I want these to increase in value. Whether or not I'll ever sell them is a whole nother story. But I want to fool myself into thinking that these are some type of an investment that you get to play with. You know what I mean? Whether they are or not, I'm enjoying them as it stands. But it kind of bothers me when they do make a re-release. But then the other side of the coin, I really want them to make re-releases of some figures. Specifically, I want all of the Iron Man in die-cast, which would require some re-releases. Mark 17, the Mark 30, the Mark 33, the Mark 41, the Mark 9, the 25, the 26, the 27, the 20, the 21, the 22. Well, the 22 actually is die-cast, but none of these were die-cast. And when you put a non-die-cast figure next to a die-cast figure, there's a huge difference in the size of them, the scale of them. Some people will say that with the die-cast figures, Hot Toys has fixed the scale, that the scale was actually off on the plastic figures, is what some people will claim. Now, I don't know where I stand on that. We do know that Robert Downey Jr. is not 6 foot tall. I believe Tony Stark is supposed to be 6 foot tall. Obviously, when you're stamped inside of a suit, you're going to be larger than you really are because you are on, you're in a metal suit. So, and we know that he wears shoes inside of his suits, but there's some magic to it, some mystery in regards to there's no way is him wearing his shoes going to be this size of a foot on the Iron Man suit. You have to look past some of the reality of it. You have to say, there's no way is his hand in there. There's no way is his foot in there. Yeah, it's magic, it's movies, it's mystery, it's what we expect. There comes a fine line between reality and what is appealing to look at in the eye. So we have to accept these things. So there hasn't been a release of a Hall of Armor suit since what was the last one? Was Shades the last one? I don't remember. I think the Mark 23 Shades was the last one. And they showed us the Mark 28 Jack. They literally showed us the 28 Jack in behind whatever one of the last ones was. So here was Shades, and behind him was the 28 Jack. This was 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. And there's not been a Mark 28 Jack at all. And the Mark 28 Jack is a combination of the Mark 7 and the Mark 17. When Hot Toys announced that they were going to start making diecast figures 5 years ago, I believe it was, the figure that they showed us in that official announcement as being diecast was the Mark 17 Heartbreaker. Coming soon, diecast is a picture of the Mark 17 Heartbreaker. Heartbreaker had not been released yet. Heartbreaker came out and was not diecast, but Heartbreaker was the picture. The Mark 17 was the picture that they used when they said, coming soon, diecast. We never got a diecast Mark 17. When they did make then the diecast figures with, I think, Iron Patriot was the first one. I don't remember. It was either Iron Patriot or War Machine Mark II or Hot Rod. It was that body. That body was used in all four of those. War Machine Mark II, Iron Patriot, War Machine Mark II, New Avengers, and Hot Rod. All four of those are the same body. One of those is the first diecast figure. I think it might be Iron Patriot. When they made the diecast figures, Howard Chan said that he will, for fact, do the first 7. So we have that promise. We have the promise that the first 7 will be here. We've now had 2 through 7 announced. We've had 2 through 6 delivered. We have 7 coming in the next couple of months. We haven't had 1 announced. So I know for fact, I believe 100%. Most of the suits from 8 to 30 have Mark 7 pieces in them. The reason that we haven't gotten any of those other suits, specifically the Mark 28 Jack, which is like a Mark 17 and a Mark 7 combined, is because of that, of the Mark 7 diecast. One thing I do hope that they also make as well is the Mark 2 and Mark 3 diecasts. I hate to say this, are out of scale to the rest of their diecast figures. They're smaller. They're more to the scale of the plastic figures. And the Mark 3 was one of the original ones, just like the Mark 42 was one of the original ones with bad butt. The Mark 3's got some problems. And I would like to see them remake the Mark 2 and Mark 3 as well. I think that's probably a stretch because it is diecast. We might not see those again. And there's 2 versions of the Mark 3 in diecast, the red and the blue, which was the stealth, which was how they would represent them in the comics with the to show that he had gone stealthy. And so that's what those are. So that's what I would like to see him do. So that's what I'm hoping, that they do make them all diecast and complete the line. And I love the Deadpool films. I think Ryan Reynolds discovered his calling. You want me to do the Spider-Man next? Thanos is 16.33 inches, and the new Hulk is smaller at 15.55 inches. And I think the Mark 38 Igor's, I think he's 16 inches too. Diecast Mark 7 has just come out. I seen the video by Sideshow, I mean by Hot Toys, but I don't know when it's going to start shipping. I I imagine though with that video, that means it's going to be soon, and that only means here in the United States we won't get them for a couple of months, and that's why there are people who will pay more for Hong Kong purchasers to send them a figure, especially some of the guys that make YouTube videos, because here's what happens. By the time I get my figure, you guys have already burned out on it. You probably even have it in your possession to get your figures before I do, even from Sideshow and Big Bad Toy Store. And you've watched three or four other reviewers, and you're like, I don't even want to watch any more of them. So the guy who's able to make his video first gets more views than anyone else, no matter how crappy the video is or how terrible the reviewer is. It's first, and it can get tens of thousands of views. And then by the time I finally get mine 2-3 months later, or for instance, like on my original Deadpool, 6 or 7 months after everybody else finally got one, nobody watches the videos. And I really have a hard time believing that my videos were that crappy that it would only get, 100, 200 views or whatever, compared to somebody who makes a crappy video and gets 10,000 views. But his video was released the day that the figure came out, and nobody else had the figure anymore. So there are reviewers who will pay extra to have the figure shipped to them from Hong Kong. And then here we have John Deek complaining about companies charging more to have these first run figures. And he's like, there's no first run, second run. And it's like, well, what it is they're released in Hong Kong, go to the store, pick it up, buy it, you got it. Or you can wait for it to come on the boat, and 2 months later, Sideshow will finally mail it to you. And then do your review. It's like at Christmas time when Xbox or PlayStation will come out with their new version or their new iPhone, and it's available on Black Friday, and everyone and their brother goes out there and buys it and turns around and sells it on eBay for 300% more than it is, so they can make sure to give it to their kid on Christmas Day. Or you just wait till December 27th and get it on sale. It's whatever you want. It's why it costs what it costs. Yes, I'm with you on that. I want mine to make money. Don't know why, as I'm not going to sell any. I'm with you. I probably will never sell not a single one of these. Well, Iron Man is not real. The Mark 7 diecast is shipping 2, maybe 8 weeks. Yeah, I think you're right. I for real, when they're showing the video of it, it's coming out. I think Hot Toys will re-release the Ironmonger. No, I do not. Not necessarily in diecast, but to fix the cracking problem almost every figure had in the hips. Every single one of them. I've only heard of one person that ever claimed that they didn't have the cracked hips in it, and I'm curious if the same person still could make that same claim. But no, I don't think they'll ever re-release that. Simply because, for instance, you can still buy Chitauri soldiers. They were selling Elektra for $50. Nobody wants the villains. An Ironmonger would be very expensive, no matter how they made him. If Hulk is selling for $450 or whatever he's selling for, an Ironmonger is the same size as Hulk and more, because he's just not a muscular figure. He's an Iron Man suit with all these articulations and all these other little pieces. Dude, he'd be pushing probably $600 easily. And if you guys are balking at a $450 Mark 7 or a $425 or $450 Hulk, no way will you guys be wanting to pay $600. It's the same reason Hot Toys didn't make Vulture. Not because they didn't have the capability to it. Hot Toys can make any figure you want. They made a freaking 1/6 scale Millennium Falcon. The entire Millennium Falcon. 1/6 scale. They can make anything you want. It's just a matter of whether or not it's going to sell. And I think after they showed the Vulture, and all of us were like, oh yeah, definitely you need to make that. And they haven't, because they just thought, no one's going to buy this. Same thing with the Rhino from The Amazing Spider-Man. They showed it to us, and it was never released. And again, it would just be an expensive piece. It was big and huge, and it's a villain, and the movie wasn't necessarily as successful as other movies. So, it's like, well, why should we even bother spending all the more time into fabricating this? We made a prototype, but it's just not going to happen. I do not think they will ever re-release the Ironmonger. So if you have an Ironmonger, hold on to it, love it, enjoy it, cracked hips and all. That's it. I think there will never be another Ironmonger. I never got around to getting the original back then. Now they cost a fortune, but they still have the problem, 100%. And the Wasp. Oh, man, I'm so happy that they're actually making a Wasp. Like the Yellow Jacket. They showed us a Yellow Jacket. No Yellow Jacket. No 1/6 scale Yellow Jacket. So I have the 1/9 scale Yellow Jacket, and made by King Arts, but I have no 1/6 scale Yellow Jacket. They showed us a Yellow Jacket. We need a Yellow Jacket. You need a bad guy from Ant-Man, or for Ant-Man. They didn't make this. They didn't make a Crossbones. They showed us a Crossbones. We never got a Crossbones. The Iron Legion, the actual Iron Legion. We call the Hall of Armor suits the Iron Legion when we first seen them. And then there is an Iron Legion, 1 through 5. They showed us number 1. And then they released number 3. We never got the other 4. How simple would it have been for them to just to repaint 1, 2, 4, and 5? Easy peasy, simple as pie. They didn't do it. Why? Because nobody wanted to buy that one. And it's a good guy. They were giving those doggone things away. Hell, you could buy still brand new from the toy stores the Mark 17 Heartbreaker and the Mark 33 Silver Centurion for years. Mark 38 Igor, Mark 35 Red Snapper were available for years. 3 years from the day they were first released. You could still buy a brand spanking new one from the store, from Sideshow, from Big Bad Toy Store. You could buy them brand new. They were discounting them left and right just to get rid of them. So whenever you guys talk about Hot Toys is after the cash cow, they've made so many figures that nobody wants. They're really scared to make figures that they can't sell. So when they got something that you're going to buy, they'd be foolish not to sell them and continue to sell them and continue to make them and continue to pump them out and to turn it into a cash cow. I'm sure to some degree, Howard Chan is doing this because he enjoys it and has a passion for it and loves it and it's a good hobby of his. But it's also a business. It's how he puts food on the table. It's how he keeps a roof over his head, and it's how he puts clothes on his back. So if he has an opportunity to make money at it, he's going to do it. As long as you and I love buying them and collecting them, we're going to keep buying them. And I'm going to buy any junk that they sell that has to do with what I am collecting. And there's a lot of you out there that are with me on that. There are some of you that are very finicky, or for whatever reason, you're finicky, or you just don't have the money to dispose on that. And God bless you. I'm not faulting you whatsoever. But those are the ones that, when they, and then they don't release what the numbers are. There's only been maybe a handful of figures that they've ever told us exactly. Well, not even then. We're not even sure if it's the exact number that they told us. Like one of them, they had 3,000 units on. We know for a fact, or we're told that's by Hot Toys. One, I think, had 800 units. One, I think, had 16 units. So there are a really small handful of how many we've been told that they released. I find it interesting that one of them said 3,000. That leads me to believe, I was assuming at that point that 3,000 was like the run of them, that there was only 3,000 of any of the others as well, because it just seemed to be like a big number. But now I'm thinking maybe 3,000 isn't even close to however many they really make. They may crank out 10,000 of these. And if they crank out 10,000, Mark 17s, and they're still being sold brand new because they haven't left the store shelves 3 years later, how can you sit there and as a store like Sideshow? So Hot Toys manufactures it. They send it to their official distributors. The official distributors are buying them from Hot Toys. So if they sell it to you for $300, you would assume then that Sideshow probably paid, and I don't have any idea, if they're selling it for $300, Sideshow probably paid $250 for it. So they've got a $50 profit that they're going to make out of it. Now, it's not like $50 like, woohoo, we just put $50 in our pocket. It's not. That $50 is going to pay for their rent, their electricity, their employees, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They got to make that $50 pay for everything. Well, now, if they spent $250 on a figure that sits on the shelf for 3 years, they've no longer made $50 profit on it when they turn around and sell it to you for 300 bucks because it sat there for 3 years occupying storage space in their on their store. It is doing the same thing you are in your house, using up electricity, using up square footage. It costs them every single month that that box sits there and doesn't move. So when Hot Toys contacts them and say, "Oh, hey, by the way, we're going to be making a brand new Mark whatever 17. How many do you want to order?" They're going to look over their shoulder and they're going to say, "Shit, we've got 500 of these doggone ones for 3 years. We've not been able to sell. And now you want me to order another 3,000 of them? You're kidding me now, right now, right? Got $50,000 worth of Iron Man over here that I can't get rid of, that nobody wants to buy. And you want me to buy more of them. Is that right?" So now Hot Toys is sitting there thinking, gosh, we want to make this figure because we love them. And I personally, speaking as Howard Chan, have every single one of them. I've made them all. I have my full-on collection, and I want to share that with you guys. But I can't sell them because Sideshow doesn't want them, or Big Bad Toy Store doesn't want them, or Toys Falcon doesn't want them, or Toy Sapien doesn't want them, because they've got hundreds of them sitting on the shelves that they can't get rid of because you guys won't buy. So they don't make it. Then they make one and everyone's like, "Oh my God, that's the greatest figure in the world. I can't wait to get it. Make it more." And you first start complaining. "Oh, there goes Hot Toys trying to make a cash cow out of us." Not pleasing everybody, right? You can please some of the people all the time. You can please all the people some of the time, but you'll never please all of the people all of the time. Simple marketing. We all know that, right? Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps, but I'm not Tony Stark. I do like the re-release of that figure, by the way, of the mech test version. I'm thinking about pulling the trigger on that. I never got the Hot Toys version of it. Don't know if I really need it, but it looks good. By the way, buy what you love. 100%. Don't buy what you don't want. People that are new to the collection, I went through the same thing. "Oh my God, this is great. I want to buy it all. I want to buy everything that's 1/6. I don't even care whether it has any connection or theme or anything that I love. I just want to get it because it's 1/6 scale. I want to build this huge 1/6 scale collection." No, don't get what you don't want. Don't get what you don't love, because you'll never love it. I don't know if any figure really has grown on me. I don't know if there's ever been a figure that I bought that I didn't care for that then grew on me later. Now, there'll be a figure that I'll like more as time goes on. For instance, that guy right there. That Mark 21 Chrome. Oh man. That's a beauty. That 100% is a beauty. Love that guy. He grows on me all the time. He really does. His Venom is nice. It's so funny. I'm asked what my favorite figure is. And I have figures that have fondness. I have a fondness for. That Mark 21 Chrome is one of them. Mark 17 was one of my first figures. It may have been my first figure, the Heartbreaker. And so there's always a fondness to that. Like kissing your first girl, your first guy. You know, you'll remember that first kiss. I love my Fison figures. Can't go wrong with the Fison. Love all of my Iron Man. I'm loving my Black Widow. Love the War Machines. Hawkeye's cool. I love Yondu. Sheesh. Love my Deadpools. Really love my Fisons. Really love my Fisons. See, what have I got over here? I love my Astromechs. All my little R2-D2s. We got Hot Toys is finally releasing the new R2-D2 with every single thing that R2's ever done, for the most part. It'll be Hot Toys' second R2-D2. Sideshow's been making them for a long time. If I remember correctly, Sideshow has lost that license to make those. So that will be the end of that. I love my Mark 7s. The Arctics and the Stealths, or the chocolates and white chocolates. My Spider-Man collection. Holy smokes. My Iron Spider, my Scarlet Spider, my Advanced Suit Spider, my Homecoming Spider-Man, my re-edit Iron Spider. I'm building a Peter B. Parker. Talked about it last week. I'm one thing that was asked me a little while ago was on the Homecoming Spider-Man. Let's talk about that for a second. They've re-released it, but not necessarily. So the first homemade Spider-Man was from Spider-Man Homecoming, right? And it comes with a battle damaged head sculpt of Tom Holland as Peter Parker. The new homemade Spider-Man suit from Spider-Man Far From Home, exact same suit, except it comes with the little battle droid or whatever you would call that, and it comes with these electrified or something web shooter. I don't remember what they are, but it's a different web shooting that comes out of it. But it doesn't come with the head sculpt. So some of you have asked, do I think you should sell your homemade suit and buy the new one, or get them both, or pass on it? It's all about whether or not you want to keep that battle damaged head sculpt, because there's no other battle damaged head sculpt. The other head sculpts that Tom Holland, Spider-Man, Peter Parker have, they're not battle damaged. It's the only way of getting the battle damaged head sculpt. I've not seen a third party battle damaged head sculpt. So, and you can put it on some of the other figures. I don't remember. One of them is not interchangeable. I don't remember which one it is. But you can put the battle damaged head sculpt on the other figures, the ones that are interchangeable. One of them has like this weird head sculpt. I don't remember which one it is. So that's the trade-off, or the question you have to ask yourself. If you want to get the second homemade suit and have two of them, I mean, that's one option. If you only want to have one and you don't know whether or not you want to get the new one or keep the old one, if you sell the old one, you're going to have to pass. You're going to lose your battle damage head sculpt. It's up to you how you want to display your figures. Do you want them to display them battle damaged or not? If you do, then you need to keep your original homemade suit, or acquire the original homemade suit, which comes with the battle damage head sculpt. If the battle damage head sculpt is not important to you, then sell it and get the new one come with the battle droid. Iron Man for me diecast. I will pay what I need to pay to get the figure I need. Amen. That's the ultimate answer. That is the ultimate answer to any of this. Pay what you want, pay what you need in order to get the figure that you want. How can you make it any more simple than that? You can't. That sums it up right there, totally and completely. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That says it all. There's nothing more that even needs to be said to explain how we go about collecting what we collect. And only collect what you want. Collect what you love. Like my little Deadpool. I'm loving him. He's going to look great over here with all the others. He is my Deadpool. So we have a Hercules and Ares that have been released. You can either buy Hercules, or you can buy Ares, or you can buy the set. Third-party manufacturer. We have a Logan figure that's been announced. And we have a Super MC Toys, or Super McToys, has made a Miles Morales high school student outfit. By the way, these are things that have come up with us recently that are available for pre-order out there. We also have the Flash figure from the TV series. Hot Toys has made a new Flash. There's a new Eric Killmonger head sculpt. It's made by Manzanita Studio. Comes in two versions. You have like the angry version, and you have like the non-angry version. Because that was kind of my biggest complaint with the announcement of the Hot Toys figure, which I've ordered like years ago, it seems, and it still hasn't been released. Was I didn't care for their choice of hair on the actual figure, because I don't remember that particular hair being how I remember the figure from the character from the movie. Now, one of you had said that you rewatched the movie recently, and that hair is actually in the movie longer than you had, and probably me as well remembered. But I was really hoping that there would be a different style of hair. So the new head sculpts are offering those other head or hair placements for those. And it looks like they're selling for 45 bucks. There's a Matrix figure of Agent Smith. We have the Edith sunglasses that everybody and their brother has been making. These are all things that have come out within, they've been announced within the last week, by the way, to keep you abreast of what's coming out in the 1/6 scale world out there. Is this Hot Toys Deadpool any good then? And why? And have you gone for the third-party Deadpools? I didn't know there was a third-party Deadpool. I didn't know. I thought that I bought every third-party Deadpool that I felt was 1/6 scale. And yeah, so when the first Deadpool came out, the Hot Toys Deadpool, there was an issue with the wrists. They didn't take into consideration the stretching or the the elasticity of the suit, and evidently the suits were coming back up the arm and were getting frayed at the wrist. And that's why it took me, I think, 7 months or 8 months or even 9 months from the moment they were first released to finally get mine, because mine was in the re-release, evidently. So when anybody sit there and says there's no second release, yeah, baloney, there is. So the first one, they went out, and there were people that were contacting Hot Toys or whomever and having them sent back, and were filing claims against them for the damaged wrists. So I don't know if any of those exist, truthfully. Mine came, like I said, gosh, almost 9 months after they were first made available for people to take home in Hong Kong. And all those first ones have bad, the suit will actually pull up and fray out. And I think the little pieces of the suit actually dissolve off. So he's been fixed. And I love my Deadpools. And literally, like I said, the only difference between the two, the movie 1 Deadpool and movie 2 Deadpool, are the shininess and the bullet holes. So, and then I have the dusty, as I was showing you, I have the dusty Deadpool as well. So this is Deadpool 2 Deadpool, and this is Deadpool 1 Deadpool. And essentially same figure. These are metallic, and these are not. Same thing with the belt buckle, not metallic. Metallic bullet holes. I don't know if you can see the bullet hole in his chest. He's got the bullet hole in his chest, no bullet hole. But yeah, I am seriously considering buying 1 or 2 more Deadpools. One to be able to put him into the Ferris Bueller robe, and what was the other reason I wanted to buy one? I suppose to put him in the training suit, put him in the shirt. I love Deadpools. I love them, and that's why I'm buying all these actual Deadpools. Simple. I don't know. Just like Spider-Man. I knew very little about. All right, looks like we had a burp there. So I only learned about the other characters when they would show up in the Spider-Man crossover. So, because characters were bouncing in and out of Spider-Man all the time. And one of my favorite Spider-Man comics was when he meets the Hulk characters. The Hulk's been around a long time, and the two never had met. And it's funny. I don't remember who it was that had bestowed what powers on Peter Parker, but he had like Captain Marvel's powers or something. I don't remember what it was, but it's really a really interesting comic story. So the Hulk at this time had become Professor Hulk, more or less. He was Smart Hulk, and he was kind of finding himself. And I think he was working for the mob or something. And it's really weird. Anyhow, he was paid to kill Spider-Man. It must have been Kingpin. Must have paid him to kill Spider-Man. So here, Spider-Man has now been given this. I think it's the ability of Captain Marvel. I don't remember who it was, and so he become Captain Spider-Man more or less. And so he had the power of flight, and he had punch and photon blast and the whole 9 yards. And it's interesting when you're reading the comics. If I remember this from like the 80s or 90s or whenever this was, something was happening. Like there was like a nuclear power generator. It's about to melt down and blow up and destroy New York or something. So he's on his way, and this is why he was imbued with these powers, I believe, in the first place, because they knew this was going to happen. So he's on his way to take care of this. And on his way, then, all these bad guys started just showing up to try to, whatever, fight him. And I don't remember what one of them's name was. It was like Gravitron or something, who had the ability to control gravity. And he literally would have easily defeated Spider-Man. But when Spider-Man was imbued with the powers of Captain Marvel, or whoever he was that they give him the ability to, he was essentially invincible. He could fly. Spider-Man had gone from just not only having the strength, proportion to strength of a spider, which, by the way, in another one of the comics, he had been collapsed on by several subway trains, which are several tons, and he was able to lift stacks of these up. And the little editor's note on the bottom of the panel said, by the way, for those of you that are keeping track, Spider-Man currently is now lifting more than the Hulk can lift, because his adrenaline pumped. He had the adrenaline surge of life and death, that we are told that people are able to lift cars off people because that adrenaline surge will come. And supposedly that's one of the reasons the Hulk became the Hulk, and one of the many stories of the Hulk, because he was unable to get that adrenaline surge and he was looking for that. So that's one of the Hulk stories. But so his adrenaline surge, and he was able to lift all these subway cars, and we're told that this is more than Hulk can lift. So we know that Spider-Man could become stronger than the Hulk, but wasn't necessarily stronger than the Hulk at that point. But he's strong. He always pulls his punches whenever he punches somebody until he realizes they can break his webbing. So if he shoots you in the face with his webbing, which is one of his normally his first defense, he's trying to make you so you can't see him. If you're able to pull that webbing off, he knows you're strong, and he doesn't pull his punches. If that webbing on your face disables you, then he pulls his punches. He doesn't punch you with all his might because he'll kill you. So, long story short, he was given the super ability. He's on his way to try to stop this nuclear meltdown or bomb or whatever it was that was going to happen. And here comes the Hulk. All Hulk knows is to kill the bug. It's what he was told to do. He shows up. Spider-Man is at his last. He's through. He's tired of all these villains stopping him from his mission of trying to stop this nuclear meltdown or bomb or whatever was happening. And he literally just uppercuts the Hulk. Just ow, right under the chin. Just delivers a punch straight on. Full Captain Marvel force. It sends the Hulk into the stratosphere, out into orbit, around the Earth, in outer space. That's how hard he was punched by Spider-Man. And Hulk is floating in space. Spider-Man goes off, saves the day. As Peter B. Parker says, there's always some, thingamajig that has to be done to do the thing, and he always ends up saving the day. He saves the day. Peter's sitting around, he's saying, oh man, thank God that's over. Oh, I punched the Hulk into outer space. Flashback to the Hulk. Hulk's up there talking to himself, because he's a smart Hulk at this time. He goes, well, I knew I was going to die sooner or later. I didn't expect I would die like this. I'm not sure what's going to happen first, whether or not I'm going to run out of oxygen and my lungs are going to burst, or the cresting sun coming out of the shadow of the earth is going to radiate me and burn me to death. I'm not sure how I'm going to die first, but it's coming in a matter of seconds. Fortunately, Spider-Man shows up, grabs him, pulls him back down out of the universe, and brings him back down to Earth, right back into New York City. And Hulk looks at him and is like, hey, thanks. By the way, you and I, we're good, man. We're good. And that's how Hulk and Spider-Man became friends. And like I said, that was really the only time that I would come across another character in the Marvel Universe was when they came into a Spider-Man comic. So I didn't know that much about Deadpool, really, until the movies came out. And I'm really digging them. I really enjoy him in many capacities. And I am looking forward to building a huge Deadpool collection of any type of Deadpool that I can get. And that was the whole purpose of today's unboxing, was my new 1/6 scale, as far as I'm concerned, Chibipool, to go along with my Deadpool collection. And so there you have it. That's the long story short of it all, of how it is. And so it was on this day. All of the Deadpools, or just their sideshow Deadpool? Because don't they also have like some old Deadpool 1s or Deadpool 2s? Don't remember. That's a good lead. Thank you for sharing that. Like I said, I have considered buying extra Deadpools. I don't know why. There's something. Oh, I know why. I remember now why. Oh yeah, I specifically remember now why. Yeah, I probably am going to jump on that actually. Now that I think about it, I remember now why I wanted to get another Deadpool. I couldn't remember why I needed another Deadpool. I remember now. I'm not going to share it with you guys. It's a secret. It has to do with the Kit Bash. Deadpool Kit Bash. But I don't know if I have any more money. Especially with those Mark 7s coming out. $400 a pop. I think I got those for Sideshow. Don't remember who I ordered my Mark 7s through. I would rather buy everything from Big Bad Toy Store. For real. Simply because, well, for one major reason, Big Bad Toy Store boxes don't come customized from UPS. They come in their own box, wrapped in bubble wrap, and safe and secure, and they don't get destroyed like this. That's how deep that is. But the other reason I like buying from Big Bad Toy Store is $4 shipping. $4. I live in California. Now, Sideshow is in Southern California, but it's not more than like 400 miles away. These two pieces, all right, each one of them cost me $22.50 to have shipped to me from Sideshow. Big Bad Toy Store would have put them in one box and charged me $4. I paid $45 in shipping on these $200 figures. I asked Sideshow why do they charge so much for shipping? Why they don't combine the shipping? Oh, well, because, that's what we're charged. Well, how is Big Bad Toy Store able to sell them for $4, I said. They said, well, we can't comment as to why Big Bad Toy Store is able to do things. That's a different company. We have no say-so over them. I don't know, what can I say? Plus, the other thing is that pretty much everything you buy from Sideshow, just about, you have to put a deposit on. And I don't think Big Bad Toy Store charges you a deposit unless it's over $350. I don't remember what the cutoff is on Big Bad Toy Store as to when it is they will charge you a deposit or not. I think it's $350. So let's do movie promo Spider-Man next week, right? And I got an announcement that my scroll heads are being shipped. So I ordered 3 scroll heads and hands, and I thought I would just have fun mixing and matching those up. You guys seen Far From Home, and it was so funny. In the Captain Marvel movie, when she was interrogating Nick Fury, she asked him to say things that no one else would know. And one of the things he said, if I remember correctly, and I may be backwards, he said that he doesn't like his sandwiches cut in triangles. But somebody pointed out in one of the other Iron Man movies, we see Nick Fury eating a sandwich cut in triangles. So that point, the conspiracy theory came about that Nick Fury really wasn't Nick Fury, but he was a Skrull in some of the Iron Man movies or Avengers movies. So it was really neat the reveal at the end of Far From Home. So, of course, when the Skrull heads became available, I ordered 3 of those, and I just got an announcement they were coming, and I'm probably just going to switch them around and just make. I'm not even sure. 1 or 2 of these figures will be a Skrull for maybe 1 month, and then the next month I'll be tired of them being a Skrull, and I'll make another figure of a Skrull. So that's my intention of just popping these heads around and swapping them out and having different people be Skrulls. So I'll be doing that. Since it's a Deadpool stream, how do you feel about Deadpool in the MCU? Love the fact that Deadpool's making it to the MCU, or I hope that he's going to be making it to the MCU. I'm happy to see Disney gobbling all this up. Oh, I can't believe I just said that. What is wrong with me? I'm not happy that Disney's gobbling them all up. I'm happy to see them all under one production house. I really like how the MCU has been. And as long as they continue the MCU in that manner, hey, I'm all good. If they start turning the MCU into the same thing that Disney's done to Star Wars, it'll be the death of the MCU. Fox really made an absolute amazing rendition of Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds really championed that hard, and he's been a driving force for it. He's the godfather of Deadpool. He is Deadpool. And as long as they continue with that, holy smokes, that's going to be a dream come true, you know? One of the things that people complained about with Thor Ragnarok, when people were pseudo complaining about the movie, and I think the movie is great, was that it was too humorous, that there's nothing funny in death, and yada, 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 yada. No, I enjoy a good laugh. I enjoy going to the Deadpool movies and laughing my ass off at his stupid quirks and jokes and whatever else, and I don't have to go in there and see an absolute drama. The problem with the Hulk movie that Ang Lee made back in 2003, I think it was, or I don't remember when it was actually, was it was not enough lightheartedness. The problem with Batman Forever, I think it was, the George Clooney Batman, it was too lighthearted. So there's a fine line when bringing a comic book character to life. We understand it's a comic, and we know Deadpool is the mouth, the merc with the mouth. We expect him to be that way. But we don't want it to turn into the Batman George Clooney movie, where it was just totally laughable. We still want it to be serious, but we don't want it so serious as the Ang Lee Hulk was, where it's like, oh my God, please turn into the Hulk and stop talking about your frickin' family. You know? We're a fickle bunch where we want it to be in this manner, but we don't want it to be in that manner. We want our lightsabers to cut through everything. We don't want them bouncing off people's bodies. Which is how Disney somehow has interpreted lightsabers. That they don't necessarily cut through everything. Lightsabers can cut through freaking granite. They can cut through hardened steel. They cut through everything, especially bodies. With the Disney lightsabers, bounce them off bodies, evidently. So that's my opinion on Deadpool entering the MCU. Depends on how Disney handles it. Fox did a great job. The X-Men has been a disaster. X-Men came out strong. I don't know what the hell Bryan Singer was thinking. It's turned into a complete disaster. The X-Men now is just such a mess. I don't even know where to even begin on the X-Men. And some of my most beloved characters are X-Men. Of course, Logan. Everyone loves Wolverine. So I was happy to see that they grabbed hold of that, hoping that we can get some normalcy or some continuity or something, anything out of the X-Men than what we have currently. or have had over the last few years. So yeah, I'm happy that Deadpool has been brought into this fold, this family. What Disney does with it is going to be the big question. I mean, the Sony Spider-Man Disney thing was a big scare. Tom Holland has done an amazing job bringing Peter Parker to life. Amazing. Tobey Maguire was my Spider-Man. He was the one that I was like, that Spider-Man. And I had some problems with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, but it was overlooked. I appreciated that. I recognized Tobey Maguire Spider-Man as a different Marvel Earth, if that makes sense. So I would just as happily collect Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man and put them here on the shelf. Just like the multiverse Spider-Mans with Peter B. Parker and Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen, and the whole nine yards. Get them all. Um, so when Sony and Disney were quabbling over Spider-Man, Tom Holland, being in the movies, it was really scary for me. It was really scary. I was like, geez. And poor Tom Holland, he's done such a great job, and he's loving the whole thing, and he's full on into Spider-Man. And I guarantee you, if Sony didn't continue on their relationship with Disney, that would be the end of Tom Holland too. I guarantee you. Sony owns Spider-Man, the rights to Spider-Man for the movies, but they haven't necessarily been doing Spider-Man properly. They did a good job with Tobey Maguire. I felt the Andrew Garfields were way short of what it should have been. And I love the Multiverse, which is a Sony, full-on Sony movie. And I love the new Venom movie. Hated Venom from Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. But Sony just didn't have it. Kevin Feige's Marvel Cinematic Universe has been amazing. And the way Spider-Man so easily transitioned into that, and the reveal at the end of Far From Home, which goes all the way back to Tobey Maguire. I was just beside myself thinking, it can't get any better. And then when Sony got Fox, I was like, yes, they've got Deadpool. Or, I mean, Disney got Fox. I was like, yes, they got Deadpool. Get him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. From my understanding, last I heard, Spider-Man's back. Right? Is that where we are? So, that's my opinion on Deadpool being here. Is, hopefully, yeah, let's see it. Let's see it. And let's him be exactly the way Ryan Reynolds and Fox created him. Let's still have the fourth wall. Let's still have, the rated R. Let's still have the jokes. Let's still have the mayhem and everything that Deadpool has been. Let's continue with Deadpool in that manner. Don't change Deadpool a bit. Don't make him a Bryan Singer Deadpool. What in the absolute hell was that? Jeez. I still want to see Hulk fight Deadpool and Wolverine, since we've seen it happen once in an animation. In my opinion, Deadpool would win, only because, kind of like the Hulk, he can't die. Um, Wolverine has regenerative ability. I think Hulk has more so regenerative ability than Wolverine. And of course, Deadpool has the max regenerative ability. Sever his head and he'll grow a whole body, or sever his body and he'll grow a whole head, depending on which side of the coin you stand on that. And there was even a Deadpool in the comics of all the extra pieces that grew together. So you can't kill Deadpool. And that's his relationship with death as well. And even Hulk has told us that he shot himself with a. And trust me, I'm not trying to glamorize suicide or anything along that line, but he says he, in one of his downsides of his life, he pulled the trigger and spit out the bullet. Bruce Banner pulled the trigger and the Hulk spit out the bullet. So I think Deadpool would win in a Logan Hulk Deadpool battle. I think it would be Deadpool, no matter, because he's totally indestructible. Or it would just end up being one giant match where they would just eventually get tired of fighting each other. But I don't think Logan's regenerative ability is as well as Deadpool's. I mean, Logan's dead even, right? Supposedly, right? He's dead. Did you read a Spider-Man and Blade crossover? I did not. How was that? I bet that was interesting. What the hell? I paid $21 and live in New York. I don't have any idea. I don't know. Sideshows started to say, show off excuses online and in their boxes, right? Dusty Deadpool is $25 off, okay, and free shipping, and the normal one has free shipping only. Well, hey, 20 something dollars in shipping, that's like 10% off, right? That wasn't any of the Iron Man movies. That was in Age of Ultron. Of the, which one was that? What was I talking about? I remember talking about something. I was saying it was an Iron Man movie. What was that I was talking about? That was in Age of Ultron. Help me out, Weebu. What was that? Don't remember. But thank you for that quip. They they all bleed together to in some manner after 20 plus movies. It's hard to keep track of who was saying what when. It's like when I look at the figure, like I was guessing here on my Falcon. It's like, when was he? Winter Soldier? No, he was Captain America: Civil War. It's so funny looking at these, trying to remember where they are from. To some degree, I wish all the figure stands just said who they were. On another point, I'm happy to see where it says Civil War or Avengers or whatever, because I forget who was where when. You know what I mean? Jazz Inc. at one point was making little um, display stands for your figures, and he would make it any way you wanted to. One of the guys suggested one time to contact these trophy stops to have the little metal plaques made. But I thought about having the little plaques made with their MMS number on them, because that's truthfully how we really need to reference who they are. MMS 245, MMS 316, MMS 178, or whatever, so I can look at this figure and remember, ah, yes, that's who that is. Especially, should it ever come to a point where I'm going to be selling the figures and I need to put their pieces back together, I need to know which one is which so that I know which pieces go where, and I can always reference back to my videos of when I unbox them, and so can you, so you'll know what pieces go where with which figure. Because as we move them around, head sculpts and hands and boots and whatever else and weapons, it's easy to forget which one goes where, especially when you got over 200 figures. Right? The sandwich and no crust. Was it no crust or was it eating them in triangles? I don't remember which one it was. I think it said you don't eat them in triangles. But somebody pointed out, by the way, in such and such, he ate it just as he said he doesn't. So maybe he's a Skrull. And then, Far From Home, trying not to ruin anything, but probably already did. Oh, you guys aren't watching these and had not seen the movies. Now, if this was a brand new movie that had just come out, we wouldn't be talking about it in this manner. But I'm pretty sure it's pretty safe to talk about Spider-Man Far From Home. As we're revealed that Nick Fury in the entire Far From Home movie was a Skrull. And how Nick was on vacation. Which makes you wonder, or makes me wonder, how long had he been on vacation? Was he on vacation during Age of Ultron, where we have the sandwich thing going on there? It's always a possibility. It explains a lot of the inconsistencies sometimes in things, right? Hard to remember. It was a few seconds before a cut of footage somewhere else. Yeah, right. But it's interesting because sure enough, he says he don't eat them that way, and why? Why would they make that a point? Why would they tell us that? Of all the things he could have said, tell me something that no one else knows. I don't eat sandwiches in this manner, whatever it was, without crust or in triangles or whatever it was. And then someone's able to say, all the way back in this other movie, he's literally eating a sandwich in this manner. So many times we get the cross references to older movies. When you'll see something, it's like, oh my God, that was from Iron Man 1. Like the physicists that he met, I think in Geneva, right? And he was the guy in the cave. And when he met him, he's like, yeah, I met you once back in the convention or whatever in Geneva. And then here we are in Iron Man 3, I believe it was. We see him back in Geneva. Hi, this is Dr. So-and-so. And he's meeting him at a convention. And, they all tie all these things in together. And it's so neat, which is the neat thing about Kevin Feige's Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like with the Marvel Avengers and Endgame. It's really neat to see all these things tied back in to all of these other things. Captain America, the first Avenger, and all of these other such. You think his vacation was after the Winter Soldier? One of the things I don't know or understand either, and maybe this is an explanation. I started watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on television when that first came out. And if you remember at the end of Marvel Avengers, Agent Phil Coulson was killed, right? And now all of a sudden, he was alive in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And the only thing that I've seen in the very first season, and I've never seen any other answer beyond that, is I didn't watch any more than just the first few episodes. And not because I didn't care for it, I just haven't taken the time. And maybe you guys can shed some light on this for me. I'm curious if the reason that Agent Phil Coulson is alive in Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. after he was clearly dead in Marvel Avengers is because the one that they killed was a Skrull agent. Or maybe Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Phil Coulson is a Skrull agent now. But I'm leaning probably to the side to say that probably the Phil Coulson that was killed was a Skrull. Because what they made a reference to in the first Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was that he was on vacation in Tahiti or something to that effect, right? So if you guys know the answer to that, because I haven't seen it, let me know. Is that what's going on? Is that how Coulson is alive in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. after being killed clearly in the Battle of New York on the helicarrier? Is it because the one that was killed was a Skrull? Or is it because Agent Phil Coulson is a Skrull now? And if this is a spoiler and I'm supposed to watch this and reveal it myself, let me know that too. I'd be interested to know. Siri, did you check out this Kickstarter? I did, and I thought they were really expensive, but it was an amazing thing. I'd first seen those 2 years or so ago. They were showing them as lights for fish tanks, believe it or not. These little self-contained LEDs that to put this electric field generating thing there, and they were dropping these little glowing pebbles, more or less, into fish tanks. And when I first seen that, I was like, "Holy smokes, that would be great for my Iron Man figures." And that was pretty much it. That was my full-on thought, and that's as far as it went. And I didn't pursue it beyond that. So I'm happy to see that someone took that same technology and turned it into the Iron Man figures. And agree 100%. You put these things into where the batteries go in your Iron Man, and they power the lights. And they get their electricity the same way our wireless charging now works on the new cell phones and whatnot, and the same way the new headphones get their sound, and the same way anything else works with electricity flying through the space. And so they're great, but the gosh darn things are expensive. If you get the Kickstarter, you get a really good price on them. But I don't remember how much it was. It wasn't cheap. And I think it was a couple $100 is how much they're going to sell for to power up one figure. So, yeah. Oh, a 100% must have, specifically if you want to showcase like one figure. None of my figures are lit up. Not a one. Because of the fact that the batteries explode inside the doggone things. And they don't last for more than an hour anyhow. And it takes forever to open them up and flip the switches on and off and whatever else. The lighting up is a requirement, especially if I was to take photographs of my figures. And I've seen some unbelievable artists take some amazing photos of their figures. And you want them to light up for that purpose. Specifically, you want it to light up. He's supposed to light up, gosh darn it, light up like the Iron Spider. He should be lit up on his body. He's not, and I'm really disappointed in that. That kind of was like a real issue with me in regards to thing is to why they didn't light up his body. He has lights in his body just like the Mark 46 and the Mark 47 do, and they didn't do that in the Iron Spider. So in my opinion, if it's supposed to light up, by golly, I want it to light up. Whether or not I light it up is beside the point, but at least I want it to be able to light up. So when I seen that, and thanks for sharing that with me, I was like, yes, it's about time. It's amazing. I love it, but it's very expensive. I don't know if I can justify that. I mean, I have a hard time trying to justify $100 on an IKEA case. I mean, when I look at $100 for something related for my figure, I start thinking, kit bashing this or buying that, whatever, 100, 200, 300, and that's a full-on figure. You can buy an IKEA case for like $100, and I still haven't even bought one of those. To spend, I think it's $200, which is just like the soap reactors. To spend that much money on an accessory for a figure, it's like the Mark 50 accessories, I think it was, and like the throne for Wakanda. Those were hard purchases because there's just an accessory that doesn't do anything, and I really struggled with making those purchases. It was hard to say, yeah, that's a definite. The light thing is really cool, but outside of the Kickstarter price, if I remember correctly, they're going to be like $250 or something. Not cheap, not cheap at all. I'm okay with the early spoilers. I think everyone has seen the movies. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is a great show, but it's not canon to the MCU. They explain all that about Coulson in the show. Yeah, because they were saying because they said something about him being dead, and they said, well, he was in Tahiti. So, from my understanding, the television shows acknowledge the movies. The television shows will recognize what happens in the movies, but the movies don't always follow what's happening in the television shows, if I understand it to be correct. So what happens in television shows, the movies don't necessarily base their storyline off of that, but from my understanding, the television shows base their storylines off of what happens in the movies. That's what I was told. $170 on Kickstarters, right? That's the discounted price. So after the Kickstarter is out, I think it's like 200 something dollars. And like I said, I can buy an IKEA Detolf for $100, and I haven't bought any one of those, and I really need them. I really need to have all of my figures need to be in Detolfs or some type of a storage, and I have a hard time spending $100 on that because I'm spending so many hundreds of dollars on figures all the doggone time. It's just such a stretch to spend that on one of those, and the Kickstarters are filling up, and they're getting more and more expensive. The first 25 or 50 people or whatever that were able to get them were able to get it at the cheapest prices, and everyone else is paying more. And after it's out, it's going to be even more. So it's going to be really hard for them to sell them, in my opinion, at those prices. I mean, for real, you're really asking for a lot. And it powers one suit. You get like 4 of those lights, and that's it. So, yeah, I would love to have one. I really would. I can't say that it isn't cool. And I would enjoy lighting up one of my figures, my 45 or my 46 or my 50 or one of those guys, or the 7 or the 4 in the gantry. I could really see this being lit up as a showpiece, but $200 that's a lot of money on an accessory. Like I said, I struggled with buying accessories that are expensive. It's so difficult to try to justify that. You know what I mean? I think I need at least one Iron Man lit because everybody who visits, yeah, they light it up. Let me see it. Yep, exactly. I'm with you. I got the best from IKEA, which is deeper, but does not have glass walls. But I can display the Tony work. Yeah, there you go, workshop in it, and the gantry. I've even considered building my own. I mean, I'm handy enough, I think, that I could probably go down to Home Depot, buy some glass, and buy some metal rods, or even wood, and possibly construct something. I mean, you buy an IKEA, you're putting the doggone thing together anyhow. So, I've even considered doing that. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. These are bookshelves. These literally are bookshelves. Probably the bookshelves they're, I think, 12 inches deep. 11 inches deep. The bookshelf is 11 inches deep, and they're not necessarily tall. I mean, these bookshelves are 13 and a half inches tall. These I've repositioned the middle shelf because that bookshelf originally had three storage compartments. It was three shelves in there with the top, the fourth shelf, and I repositioned them to be able to put my figures in there because each one was like 11, 12 inches tall, and which is the height of the figures. And that's why I have so many that are just shoved in there, because my taller ones have to go here. Anyone that's taller than 12 and a half inches, or whatever it was that I just measured this to be, 13 and a third inches tall, they can't fit over here on this bookshelf, which is a lot larger. There's just not room. And like my Mark 7s specifically, and the Mark 4s, they're literally crammed in there to get them in there, or they're not display stand just to have them in there because they're so tall. So the nice thing about the IKEAs is I guess you adjust the height on them, right? Or they have specific heights, but it's more than 12 inches. It's more than 13 inches, so you can definitely get them in there. And they're deeper than 12 inches or whatever it was that I just measured. So yeah, these are bookshelves, and books are not as big as figures. So I really need cases to be able to display them in, and to keep the dust off of them. So, and I just have not made I've not made the commitment. I've not pulled the trigger. I've not made the plunge into getting a storage cabinet. So I really have a hard time. I know I'm going to have a hard time trying to justify that for one of the lights at that price. But it is really neat. And if I could justify that, then I would pull the trigger on it. And I can't imagine be disappointed in that. I can't imagine thinking, well, this is a waste of money. I can't imagine that. I really can't. But I think it's a lot of money for what you're getting, truthfully. It's a lot of money. But it is neat to be able to light one up. Could you imagine lighting up all 50 of your Iron Man figures at $200 a piece? $10,000? I don't know, maybe you just build some acrylic glass doors for your bookshelves so you get it kind of dust-proof. I've thought about that too. I really have. I've also thought about making these the way that I want them. I've taken off the covers on them. They come with a plexiglass bendable door because it goes around the front of it. And I got tired of it hiding the beauty of the figure. So I figured they're pretty safe from the dust because they're behind it a little more, but they are getting dusty now because they're not enclosed like those guys are. But I've never really been pleased with this design. It works. No one else had even made one, really, for this. So it does its job, but I'm not necessarily, I don't feel it to be a perfect rendition of the canon representation of the Hall of Armor. So I've thought about even making these myself. But, you know, there's only so many hours in a day. Life is only so long. And after it's all said and done, you know, there's guys like Juice that are out that are doing things, and there's guys like me that are talking about doing things. So that's how life goes. Not really. I think you can place about 3, maybe 4 figures on one of these platforms and light them up. No, it only powers 4 lights. That's what it says. If I remember correctly, if I read it correctly, it said it only powers 4 lights. That's what you get. You get the 4 lights, and you got to tell them which ones that you want. And it's not lights what the battery cells are. So when you order it, you know, for instance, like the original Mark V has different size batteries than the newer versions of Iron Man. So when you buy it and you buy the 4 power cells that comes with it, they are only going to fit those figures that those ones you ordered for fit. So when you get it, make sure you get it for the one that you want, and you order the pieces that you want to go with the one that you want, because you're not going to be interchangeable within ones that are outside of what those size cells are. It says that as well. So I think it's a great thing, and I'm happy to see that someone has done that. And it's what I'd always wanted to have done, was the ability to turn my lights on and off, but it's way more money than I want to spend. I mean, buying batteries is expensive enough, and they're like what, I don't know, $2 or $3 a piece or something like that, or for three or four of them or something. I don't remember. I think if you were to buy enough batteries to totally light up one Iron Man suit, I think you're spending 15 or $20 to light up an Iron Man suit. So, I mean, batteries are expensive. They're a hassle to have to go in there and turn on and off. They explode. You don't want to leave them in the unit, you know. But I haven't bought it, though I think it's great. I never bought a soap reactor, and I think that is great. I think the soap reactor was several $100s too, for that as well. Same type of thing, only wired. Okay, then it's only one, but still at least one. I'm fully lit all the time. No, I can't argue on it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's great. I just think that they're overpriced. I cannot justify the means versus the price personally. I can't. Like I said, I can't justify $100 for an IKEA Detolf. I struggle with that. I'm like, "Ah, I sure do want a Detolf. I don't know if I want to go spend $100 on one. Man, I sure do want a Detolf though. I sure could benefit from it. I could throw what would fit in there, maybe 12 or 15 figures, and it'd be great. I put my best figures in there and stick them in the living room or something, and because my wife makes me keep all my figures back here. She doesn't want the front of the house. God bless her. There's been occasions, literally, I think it was 4th of July, and I think on Thanksgiving, she asked me to decorate the kitchen table, the dining room table with my figures, and it was really nice. And now she doesn't want to see them outside of the room. I bring them to her whenever I get a brand new one. I don't know if I'll bring her my little Chibipool or not. I might. She might like him. But I show him to her, and she's like, "Oh, what is this?" I'm like, "Oh man, it's a new Iron Spider. Check this out." And he's got the articulated arms, and check out this crossbones and whatever else. And look at this Mark 85. And now I think she's just thinking, when is it going to end? I think that's what she's thinking now. I don't know. But I've tried to sneak them out into the living room to display. And she's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm putting this on the mantle over the fire." "No, you're not." "But he's he's a Mark 7 or whatever. He looks great out here. He's a Deadpool or whatever." "No, take him to the back." So I think if I had him in a Detolf, she would probably allow them to be out in the living room. I don't, I don't know. I'm with you. Same old everywhere. 100%. So, guys, how long have I had you here today? 2.5 hours? I really enjoy every one of you. Thank you very much. Send me cards, send me fan art, send me junk you want me to open up. Send me something if you want me to mail it back. I'll mail it back to you. Um, my address should be in the description. I don't know if it'll be in this video until I go in there and put it on there, but it was in the original one. So any of the other ones, you should be able to find my address in any of the recent videos if you want to send me anything. If you want to help me out, subscribe to me on Patreon. If you got a buck, throw a buck to me, man. That'd be great. I appreciate it. Got nothing to give you, but YouTube ain't paying me for this. So, thank you very much. Subscribe, like, share, post this up on Facebook. Let everybody know where to go to see the videos. And I'll definitely be here next week. And I think we're going to do the movie promo edition, like you said, next week. And whatever else comes about. You guys dictate the show. You really do. I have an idea of what I'm going to do. The show kind of just breeds its own life, and it becomes what it is. So you guys as well have a great one. And I will tell my wife that you guys said hi. She's doing better and better, by the way. Um, I'm happy to have her back. But truthfully, I think it was just it's a second chance that still, that the end of the road is coming. You know what I mean? So truthfully, in all actuality, with the return of my wife from her event, I think it was just I wouldn't call it a wake up call, but I think it's giving us a chance to say goodbye, if you understand what I'm saying. Try not to get choked up here. But that's what is really going on. So, anyhow, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks, love y'all. Bye.